everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Back at the Ranch, or Willkommen, cabaret shout out. I'm your host, Danny Knaub, and with me is our latest deserted explorer, Jennifer. How are you? And thanks for being here.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to talk to you because, let's just jump in. What happened on day one? Just to remind those who are watching, Jennifer was part of this large group, and right before Janet and Ethan, actual survivors, are going to pick their players, she just disappeared. Not to return to the next
year. I was using my iPad, so I don't know if it was me just like, oh, it's my turn, I'm panicked, or if my internet, because I have a lot of kids and they play a lot of PlayStation, so our internet is very, I don't know. I made sure it was fixed the next day though, and I didn't have any more problems. Yeah. It was what it was.
I live in the boonies, so my Wi-Fi is constantly going out, so I relate to that. And how many kids do you have?
5.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You do not look like you have 5 kids. So obviously you find out, when do you kind of come back into the game? Was it the next day or?
Yep, the very next day at 7 o'clock, I made sure I was right there in it. So my tribe was very kumbaya, Danny. They were very kumbaya.
Well, you know what? I mean, they did, luckily for you, won that first challenge. So that, I think, kept you safe. I think you obviously probably would have been voted. So yeah, tell me about that. I mean, you show up at 7 o'clock day 2. Are you greeted with open arms? Is it rough?
I mean, as open as they want it to be. I'm sure they were having those chats that day that I wasn't here, like, hey, we have this 6th person. She's the first one when we lose. So I was kind of figuring that I had that target, but so originally I just wanted to come in, observe, let people talk to me. So, you make them feel like they're important to you. Don't do too much talking. I'm a pretty good people reader. So I was like, let me read these people and then I'll figure out who to work with. But I really didn't have that opportunity because I wasn't here. They all got along really good though. So nobody had any secret alliances yet. I mean, except for them against me, had we lost, but.
Well, so who were you vibing with, in that hour before the challenge? Was there anybody that you were feeling really good about and were hoping to kind of work together?
Before we even picked teams, we had gotten a chance to get to know each other. So that kind of helped me a little bit. Yeah. And Justin, I just felt like this little brother vibe with him. I can trust him until he stabs me in the back. I know until he has to do it, I feel like we're good. And at that point, I needed someone, and he seemed like the safest option.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, and this is a testament to your game. I mean, we have a lot of mod chats, so we're basically watching as everything unfolds, and everyone was really impressed with how you were able to kind of bounce back from that, from not showing up, and really, quickly intertwining yourself into your party. So just kudos to you. And again, I think it helps that on day 2, your team wins again. So how did you get so good at scavenger hunting? You were amazing.
Every single item in my house was in my dining room within 2 feet of reach. I knew if I did not do well on that challenge, I solidified my exit. She wasn't here day 1. She was the first one to lose. Dead weight, let her go. So I knew it was you better run. You better run. Don't run. Just collect everything. I had 15 rolls of toilet paper on the back of my couch.
I love it.
But we only needed 15 sheets, so.
That was the craziest one watching when he was wanting you guys to count out individual pieces of toilet paper. I was
shaking. I'm like, no, I have 15 rolls, pieces. I can't do this, but I did it.
Next level. So going into day 3, your party loses. So this is the first time that your party loses, and you're going to be going to Crossroads. So what is your strategy, first of all? Just what was your strategy going into that night's Crossroads? Because obviously you're still saying you felt like you had a target. So how did you work it so that they voted Dakota?
I didn't really have to do much. I feel like she didn't really do very well, and there were a couple of things going on with her, so she didn't really put up a fight either. They were like, hey, listen, this is what happened with Dakota, and we're going to write her name. I didn't really ask for the details.
Yeah, I remember hearing that there was like a direct message that became part of, I think, her story of why people were targeting her because she had, right? Like
Listen, I feel like you can't accidentally message someone.
I talked to her. She still claims it was an accident. She's just not very good with Discord.
Maybe. I'm not either, but I don't know.
Well, it's interesting though, because talking to, who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Jack and Hannah, and they actually were, Dakota. And they were saying that they thought you and Kyle were sort of like the ringleaders of the Dakota vote. So did you feel like you were a ringleader?
No, we literally came back and I was like, oh God, this is where I'm gonna have to really like pull out my magic. You can't observe anymore. You're gonna have to get in there. And the first room I jumped in, it was Jarrett, Hannah. No, why am I saying Hannah? It was Jarrett, Maddie, and Dan.
Yeah.
And Jarrett was like, oh, I'm just gonna tell you. And my heart sunk, like, they're just going to vote me and they're going to tell me there's no easy way to tell you and nothing but they were like, well, Dakota messaged me, so we're just going to vote for her because, she cheated. And I was like, okay, good for me. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, and look, anyone who's watching this, such a big part of Survivor or any kind of strategy game is like, you got to roll with it. The second someone points a finger at somebody, you go, yep. Yep, look there, look at that person. Yep, anybody?
Dakota, Jennifer, no, not Jennifer. No, not Jennifer. Okay, good. I'll write that down.
Yeah, so obviously it works because again, I think just on paper you should have been like an easy first boot because it would have been like you didn't show up. This is easy, but the fact that you survived that and sort of prove to your party that you were there, that you were going to fight, that you did this incredible job in the scavenger hunt. I mean, again, I think is a huge testament to you. So kudos to that. So then we get into the next day where we have a little bit of a swap. And, Survivor has a very common phrase known as the swap screw, which I think you were a part of a little bit.
I was not a part. I took the whole screw. I took it all. I had a whole plan, Danny. I had a whole plan. I had a whiteboard plan. I
want to hear. Okay.
I knew what I was doing.
Okay, so that's the whole point of this game is that we like to throw you off for loops, make it so you can't predict. So you're now in the new Team Janet, but you are in the minority. So it's yourself, Justin, and Jared are the only 3 original Team Ethan members against 4 on the other side. So, not great for you. You guys do, I believe that was the backwards bowling match day?
Yes.
Right? And then it doesn't help that we tell you that we're going to get rid of 2 of you. All of you guys are going to Crossroads. So Justin was the one who won individual immunity or exemption. Sorry.
But let's point out, Justin and I had to do a tiebreaker. We tied for that.
You did. No, I mean, you came to play. That's why I'm so
wanted to play.
It was fun to watch. I mean, I think that I'm so curious if you were there fully on that first day, like if anything would have changed or if, because you really I feel like you erased people's memory of that day one.
But I didn't erase my own. It was always still like sitting there like, you're never going to come back. I had already mentally messed up my own game.
Yeah. So when you are in that tiebreaker and Justin squeezes it out, do you think that it's your time or are you kind of like, okay, let's get Jared?
That was the tricky one because I felt like Justin was like my definite solid. And the first thing he had said to me was, I really want to work with you and Jared. So I didn't know if I wanted to push Justin to be like, hey, I know he's your boy, but listen, I'm your girl. You put that pinky up. We pinkied. So I was like, what do you want to do, Justin? He won immunity. He said, let's go for Gabe. He really made me think that, like, if he was going to pull this off, now would be the time that we could get Gabe. And it just didn't work. And I couldn't write Jarrett's name down. He's just so sweet.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wrote and erased it.
Did you feel like you were making any traction with the Gabe way, or was it just like you were hitting blocked walls?
I felt like I should have spent more time with Hannah.
With who?
I felt like Hannah. I think if I had spent more time with Hannah, could have knocked that wall down. She seemed like she was unsure. And looking back at the woulda, coulda, shouldas, I should have really went after Hannah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like go after her for a vote, or like to get
bring her to the dark side.
Well, again, anyone watching, like these are such good things to remember, because when you play this game, you got to play, and sometimes when you just doubt yourself or overthink it, that's when you kind of get tripped up, and sometimes you just got to go. It's interesting because I actually just spoke to Hannah right before I jumped on with you, and I asked her that same question because she felt like she was kind of on the outs of her party with this like young tribe. And so I had said to her, like, would you have considered flipping? And she's like, I could tell that she was kind of leaning towards no, but I feel like if you had approached her, maybe something could have happened, because I think she was someone that would have eventually flipped.
I feel like I could have pressed her if I hadn't been inside my own brain.
No, I know. So unfortunately, you are the first one. Everyone's at the crossroads, but Team Ethan gets to essentially watch Team Janet go first. And unfortunately, you get voted out. Gabe had 2 votes, so you obviously voted for Gabe as well as Justin. So Justin was loyal to you, which I think is a very nice thing to hear. Were you surprised at all, or?
No. I mean, I had a little bit of hope, like a little bit, because I had done so well. What I was hoping is they would look at us and go, okay, there's 3 of them. Justin, Jennifer, tied, top scores. I mean, we really lost by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. So maybe we keep those 2 because they did really well, and we get rid of the 3rd that didn't perform well.
Yeah.
Jarrett. So maybe he would have been that without me having to campaign for him.
Yeah.
Plus, I knew old Team Janet over at Ethan was watching us too. And if I had stayed and looked like a backstabber, would it have really, Justin took control. You saw that. He let everybody know how he felt. So I was just like, if I'm here, I can do damage control tomorrow.
Totally. So I think I know the answer, but maybe not. If you could go back and change anything in your game, is there anything you would have done differently?
No, I don't. Maybe I would have just tried to talk more. I think I got stuck inside my head a lot. My words got fumbled, and I was like, I never really said what I was really thinking. So
yeah. Of those who are remaining in the game, who are you rooting for to win?
Justin, of course. Justin, I told him. Take it all the way. I love him forever.
I'm telling you, Justin has a lot of fans of the people who've been getting voted out. Like, I've heard Justin's name a few times. So
listen, he could be playing us all, and if he is, I bought hook, line, sinker.
Kudos to you. If you were asked to play again, would you play again?
In a heartbeat.
Nice. And then final question for you. Are your kids proud of you?
I hope so. I think so.
I think they are.
I think they are.
Because you really put yourself out there, and I know that because didn't they kind of encourage you to do this? I think is what you were telling me.
I really thought this was a joke. I didn't really take it seriously because I watch all these shows, and every time in real life, I'm like, oh, this is what you should do. Because, when you're watching on the side, you're like, you know exactly what they should do. You'll win, So they were like, here, do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But they were right. And by the time I realized it was real, I don't think I had taken it as seriously as maybe I should have.
Well, for what it's worth, I think that I really enjoyed watching you play, especially because you turned it on and you really went full throttle, and it was just fun to watch you in the challenges. It was really fun to watch you sort of blossom because, you know, again, we didn't really know much about you because you weren't there on day one. So personally, I hope you get a chance to come back. I would love to see you play again, hopefully.
I would love to come back.
But just, you know, any final thoughts, anything you want to get off your chest, anything you want to share, anything you want to say?
Just a really fun experience. It was unexpected, unplanned. I literally applied and was like told the next day, hey, you're doing this. And it was just really something I needed at this moment. So
Yeah.
no regrets.
Well, good. Well, you know, welcome to the fun side. I don't know if anyone's told you, but this community is really large. We all hang out, we all talk, we all play games, we all confide in each other. I mean, it's a really fun group. So I really do look forward to getting to know you on a more personal level outside of the game. And I'm sure this is not the last you'll see of you, last you'll see of me. But again, Jennifer, thank you so much. I'm sorry that your game was cut short, but you're, you know, really a fun one to watch. So thank you. And to everyone at home, thank you for watching the latest episode. Jennifer, I hope you have a fabulous night, and I will be seeing you soon.
Yes, you will.
Okay, bye everyone.